Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing a video with you just showing you all of the crafty things that I've been up to in my life over the last couple of weeks since I last done a video. Now this video will be made up of a section on English paper piecing with this quilt top that you can see hanging here behind me, and there'll also be a section on yarny projects. Wool, knitting, crochet, a lot more than usual, and I will explain the reason as to why I've been focusing on those things. And also at the end there's quite a few purchases. Now down in the description box below you'll find links of everywhere that you can find me on the web, my Instagram page. There's also a link to my Ko-fi page if anyone would like to support my channel and buy me a coffee. That is greatly appreciated. And there's also a link to the timestamps for the video, so if you want to fast forward to any section of the video you can just click the timestamps in the description below. Now to get started, it was probably about a week ago that I uploaded a video talking you through how I've started the restoration of this 1960s English paper piecing quilt top. Now you've probably watched my previous video, but just as a very quick recap, this was purchased on eBay for quite fairly cheap, to be honest, for the work that's gone into it. But it's incomplete. It's just the bare quilt top, but there's lots of holes in it. The stitching has come unthreaded quite a bit in a few places. So the first step, that what I've done is I pressed the quilt top so everything was laying evenly and flat, because this had been folded up and in a bag since the 70s, so it had not seen the light of day. So I pressed it front and back because a lot of the seam allowances are a little bit wonky on the back, but it's mainly because the original person just roughly cut out the fabric to the hexagon shape. So there's just bits and pieces that were folded over and things. So I pressed all the back, and then I've been working to close up and make the stitching secure. I'm not going to go over all of the seams because it doesn't need that. It just needs touching up. I would say maybe 75%. And I've been using blanket stitch to do that from the front. No, not blanket stitch, a ladder stitch, which is an invisible stitch. It cinches two seams together, and that has worked really well. I did originally plan to whip stitch it from the back, but you can't really get in and see where the seams are. The back is just a little bit of a mess, which is fine. I don't mind that, but without the papers there it was quite hard to accurately do the seams, whereas if I'm doing it from the front I can see where the seams should be and make sure that all of the points are sharp and things. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Sorry, I just realised I'm not even looking at the camera's there and I'm looking at the screen, so I do apologise. So yeah, I absolutely love this. I'm really enjoying working on it. It's just really therapeutic, and I love just, you can see all of the original person who made it, you can see all of their hand stitching. So as I'm doing it I really enjoy just sitting there thinking about what was they thinking about at the time that they were stitching it, and it is really therapeutic to do. Because when I'm making a quilt top I like to think of the person that I'm giving it to, so this is really nice to think of this lady who originally made this. So yeah, I really like that. So yeah, I'm just slowly working through that. I have it just over the back of my sofa again, just so that it's out and it's seeing the light of day, which is what I really want to achieve with this, is to finish this lady's project. So yes, I've been really enjoying that. But mainly these last 2 or 3 weeks I have been doing knitting and crochet projects. Now that's because we had some very sad news as a family. My nan on my dad's side of the family did very sadly pass away on Shrove Tuesday. So I think that was almost 3 weeks away, almost 3 weeks ago now. And she was an avid knitter, so I've only just really recently started to learn to knit, and it just made me feel so connected to her to be doing that, and I could think of my nan as I was knitting. And then also, as it turns out, my nan on my mum's side of the family has took seriously ill, and she's now receiving palliative care at home. So we're spending also a lot of time going to visit her. So it is really sad times. We're spending a lot of time with the family, and both of my nans were avid knitters. And when I go to my nan's and we sit by her bedside, she asks, what are you doing? What projects are you doing? And stuff. So it is really, really nice, and it makes me feel really connected to my nan. So in times of grief, I've really found that to be helpful. So there is probably more knitting than what I have previously done. Well, I say more knitting, I've only got one knitting project. But a lot of my purchases that you'll see at the end of this video are knitting related and crochet, because like I say, you know, you buy things when you need comfort, don't you? And it really comforted me to buy something that I knew that both of my nans would be interested in. So yeah, I'll show you what I've been making. So first of all, I've got one new cast on for crochet. Now I had this idea, I'll explain it to you before I show you what I've done so far. I had this idea that it would be really nice to use scrap wool from all of the knitters in the family, or crocheters. So that's my mum, my sister, and my nan from my mum's side. We already had some of her wool because she gave up knitting about 5 years ago and has took it up in the last 18 months again. So she gave us some of her old wool and some of her old projects. So we already had some of her wool, and I do hope to get some of my nan's wool, who has sadly already passed. We're hoping I could still pinch some, and that would be really nice. It'd be so nice if I could finish any of her projects, but her skill level is way above me, so I don't know if I'd be able to. Anyway, going off the story, so I thought it'd be really nice to incorporate everyone's scraps into a blanket or a throw. You know, it is going to be quite heavy duty what I'm making. So this is my cast on. These are all them just put on a skewer, a kitchen skewer, and I've got these knitting needle ends that are just stuck on both sides of the wooden skewer, just to keep them all in place. And what I'm actually doing is making, these are called yo-yos or macaroons. And what you'll do is you'll sew them together either in a grid or offset. So I've made a whole bunch of them in scrap colours. This one is my Nanny Jack's wool. I saw a romper suit that she made in that, and yeah, mainly my mum's. I went to my mum's one Sunday and we just sat there, just taking a few grams off all of her stash wool that she'd half knitted with and stuff. So that was really nice. So to tell you more about the project so you can envision it, this was inspired by Sandra Paul of Cherry Hearts. I was scrolling back through her Instagram and she'd made, I think it was inspired by a film or a TV show called Emma. I think it's Jane Austen. And she had made a cardigan that was circles and squares, just one round or two rounds of circles and squares, and she'd crocheted them all together, and she'd made a really nice, I think it was like a cardigan that fastened with a bow. But I wanted something that I could join after, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into like an ombre rainbow effect. So there's going to be a lot more colours than here, and I'm then just going to sew them together in lines and attach them as I go. Because what it'd be really nice too is this, if this is an ongoing project in like years time, I can just keep adding yarn to it. Let me put these on and put the end on. So it is very much an ongoing long-term project, but these don't take long. They take less than 10 minutes each to make, and it's nice. I've been enjoying it just to make a puff in the morning, just while I'm drinking a cup of tea or waiting for my porridge to cool down. So I've been finding that really therapeutic. And this is my stash of yarn that I have to make them all with. There's a huge variety of colours. You can probably see a little bit through the basket, but don't they look so good in there? So yeah, it's just a really nice project, and I think my mum likes it as well because it's got a bit of her in it and it's got a bit of her mum in it. So it's like a 3-generation scrap blanket, if you will. So really nice. Now, secondly, the other project that I've been working on, again, a Cherry Hearts project, a pattern, is my Battenberg blanket. I have made quite good progress on this. Now, it's a checkerboard project. Now, I've been doing these all in pastel colours and then adding the cream squares. And I had loads of colours made up because it's more interesting to crochet through a few granny squares in colours than it is to crochet 10 granny squares in cream. So last weekend I really just sat down and I did loads of cream and I joined them all up, and I've now got a panel. Now it is a join as you go method. Yeah, I really like the back. So as you can see, I don't know if that's blowing out, but the back gives a really nice texture, all of those joins. I think I like the back more than the front. I just like the interest of the joins. Yeah, it's really very nice. Now this I am aiming to make it into a single bed size blanket. The main reason being is because we've got a super king bed, so I'd never make it big enough to go on the whole bed. But my partner, he's the total opposite of me. He likes to be much cooler. He will often sleep even without the duvet on, and I have the duvet and a blanket on top. So just a single blanket over my part of the bed is fine. That keeps me warm enough and it keeps him cool enough. So what I thought is, if I made it single bed size, on the night it can go over me where I sleep, but then during the day when the bed is made, it can go at the bottom of the bed as a bed runner. And then thirdly, this is a knitted project. Now this is my first ever knitted project. Taught myself to knit on YouTube about the end of last year. I put this down for quite a while and I've just picked it back up maybe in the last 2 months or so. And it's a scarf. It's getting quite long. Let me show you one. So that's what it looked like on. It does meet at the back, almost crosses over. And all I'm doing is knitting this. I think it's a King Cole wool. It's called Fair Isle style, and it's got all of this colour work in it. And it's just a nice 2x2 rib. And it's really stretchy, but also really squishy. It's so cozy. So I think I've done 1.5 balls so far, and it is nice and chunky. So I'm enjoying that. I've started to do it on circular needles because I find it more comfortable. You're not out with your arms like that. You can just sit and do it much more comfortable. And the other reason why I wanted to start using circular needles is because I taught myself to knit so that I can eventually knit socks. That is my main aim. So it's also really important for me to meet that aim. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself, but I really do want to do it because I asked both of my nans to knit the socks. My one nan, she didn't give me an answer, she took it ill, but then my nan from my dad's side, she says, oh, I need to sit down and concentrate. She'd never knitted socks, and she also didn't get the time to do that, so I really want to. Yeah. And just a really quick side note of something that I've made since the last podcast. You know, sometimes you just need that hit of serotonin of starting something and finishing it. Well, I knitted this lid for my scrap yarns. I like to keep all of my scraps in here. I don't know why. So I knitted, crocheted, sorry, a lid. And I just hot glued that onto the lid. Now that was just a circle, and then so I decreased for 1, 2, 3 rows, and then I stopped decreasing and I worked into just the back loop to create this nice lip here, and then I just did a ruffle stitch by working 4 double crochets into each loop, and it created a nice ruffle. And all of my knitting projects, I just keep it in this bag. This was a like a gift bag. It had cosmetics and smellies and stuff in. It was one of my nans who bought it for me. So again, it's really nice and I feel so connected to them. So that's pretty much all of the projects that I've been working on. That's quite monogamous for me, just to be working on just a small handful of projects, but I can see progress on them, so it is nice and I can see the appeal. But I have been itching to start a new project, because for me that's where I get my satisfaction and where I feel so much joy. So I have had to restrain myself, because with me, I know what's good for me and what isn't. And while starting a new project is really good for me, if I did something wrong in times of when I'm already feeling low, I would feel even worse. And I know you shouldn't. You know, if I just made a simple mistake that was easily rectified, it would just hit me so hard when I'm already feeling low. So I've restrained from starting new projects, because sometimes you do make mistakes on new projects. And just stuck to what I've got going on. Obviously, apart from the puffs. Yeah, but those are easy. So moving on to my incoming purchases that I've made. Obviously, again, I needed some comfort. So the first place that I made a purchase was a shop that I use quite frequently. It's called Sew and Quilt, and it's where I get all of my English paper piecing subscription boxes from. And they do some scrap packs at the moment. They did some a couple of months ago and I rushed to buy them, but they've still got some in stock. So first of all, they sell it in weight. So I bought 1/2 metre weight of Liberty scraps, and they're all really good sizes. And there's such a variety of colours and prints, and they're great for English paper piecing scrappy quilts. So yeah. And then they also do one of just regular quilting cotton, and I think for just a couple of pounds more you get 1 metre worth. So obviously the regular quilting cotton is cheaper than the Liberty. So I got 1 pack of those. I really like that Christmas print. And scrappy English paper piecing quilts is where my heart lies. I absolutely love them. So I will be doing more of those. And my sister has been asking for a quilt for quite a while. She's been on my list. So I really nailed down, she's quite picky in what she wants, the colours. She likes a colour scheme, but she doesn't so much like the scrappy look. But anyway, I'm going to make her a hand appliqued orange peel quilt. I probably will have started that by the next video, but that was the project that I didn't want to start in fear of if I did it wrong it would upset me. So I've done some research and I know how I'm going to start it. But it is going to be scrappy, but it's going to be done with Liberty fabrics in pinks, the pale greens and a splash of yellow. The predominant colour will be pink, and it will have a white background. So she came over, I went through my stash of Liberty, and Liberty goes together so well. Even if it is scrappy, all of their patterns and colour palettes work together brilliantly, and I think that's why a lot of people like them, and the quality. So she went through my scraps, and there was just a few more yellows that were needed. So I think this is Betsy. I got a 1/4 metre of Betsy in the yellow just for a little splash, and then this, I don't know what the name of this range is, but I absolutely love that. And I've never had Liberty by the metre, I've only ever had the scraps, and so I've never felt a piece as big as this, and it feels amazing. So yeah, enjoyed that. And I also just started with 1 metre of white. I don't know how much I'll need. I didn't get Liberty, I got a different brand on the Sew and Quilt website, but this is the white that they use for their subscription boxes, so I know that it goes with Liberty very well. Now, secondly, we ordered from Hobby. Is it Hobby or Hobby? Me and my mum are undecided. I'll try not to crinkle the bag so much. And so this is a really nice yarn website where they sell a lot of variety of commercially dyed yarn. I usually get my yarn from actual shops because I really like to support local businesses, but we found that this website was just great. They had such a selection. Now, in aid of my sock knitting, I bought some sock yarn. That's just my colour. I really like that. And this is 75% wool, 25% nylon. Now, when I get established into sock making, which I will do, I definitely want to get some hand-dyed yarn and things, but just for practicing. I also bought, this is Hobie's range, so that's upside down. It's their rainbow sock yarn in 4-ply, 75% wool, 25% polyamide. I bought this to make socks for my mum, and I don't know what I was thinking because my mum loves colours. I don't know what I got this. And on a side note, I got this from Hobbycraft. This is West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn. This was quite expensive in comparison to this, I think. Obviously you get twice as much, but I might make this for my mum, even though she says, I don't like purple. It's got purpley blues in. Maybe I could mix the two together and do the heel and the toe. I don't know. I don't know my abilities. I'm also planning to start Cherry Heart's painted anemones blanket. She uses stonewash, is it sheepies or shepies? Quite expensive, out of my budget for a blanket. So I bought this pack from Hobie. Now they are just pastel colours. I probably should have got pastels and a different pack as well to go with it. These are 50-gram balls of cotton in double knit. And yeah, they're really good. So I got this pack, I think it was £10 for this pack, it wasn't a lot, and I've got some add-on balls. So these are the additional balls that I've bought, because with the painted anemones blanket you use like a light shade and a dark shade to form the flowers. So let me try and hold those. I can't hold them all in my hand at the same time, but I was thinking, especially for the pinks, those are a light and a dark shade, and there's a blue and a green as well, so that goes really well. Now again, I'm not sure when I'm going to start the painted anemones blanket, but that is something I want to do. And what I really like about these yarns is they have these easy starts. I've never seen those, and that is a central pull, so that'll be quite handy. I didn't realise how small 50 grams are, but with the painted anemones blanket it can be quite a scrappy blanket if you choose to do it that way. So I'll just get some more. So that is pretty much the end of the video and what I've been up to in the last couple of weeks. I did say on my previous video when I showed the process of starting the quilt top, but again I just really want to thank everyone for my support on my last podcast video. It's just been amazing, and thank you guys so much. I do really appreciate all the comments, just all the likes on the video. Just really nice. So whatever you get up to in the next couple of weeks till I speak to you again, I hope you have a wonderful time. Here in the UK, spring has sprung, so I hope you get some time to be outside with family and friends. That's so important, and lots of crafty time. So thank you guys once again. welcome back.